Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's good to be back with three on the screen and not just the truck cast. As much as I really loved doing the truck casts, and it's nice to have Felice back on the tools and in screen and on the audio waves soon. Um, you know what? I said I was gonna start. I think I actually might all of a sudden reverse you guys, and that's gonna be something that you're gonna want to get on your bingo cards today on 32 Thoughts. Reverse Uno. I'm gonna drop that in the chat. Uh, if we're going around the horn here, I'm gonna go to Luke first. How have you been, bud? This is the craziest week, and why don't you uh, do you feel like you can say a little bit of what's been going on in your lands and in your life?
Yeah, so just an unbelievable week of some Olympic hockey. So been trying to tune into as much as that as I can. Um, so been a great week. Also got involved in some ball hockey to keep the puck moving. So that was fun last night. We had the top boys out and things got a little heated, but we keep the puck moving. Um, and tonight we kept the puck moving with some sledge. So all around big hockey week. So we were moving it.
Go hockey. Yeah, it was fun to get out for ball hockey. I will admit I did score one of the last goals in the last game I played, which was nobody knows. I think that was even last year. And everybody thought I had retired, and I just like walked into the sunset. But I did decide to come back as with a jersey, and I had to change out of that jersey pretty quick because I am not a main character. I am not elite. Let's go over to an elite ball hockey player. Felice, how has your week been, bud?
The week's been pretty good. Slightly painful because the teachers they've not been clutching up and not been playing the games in class for me. So actually, I was watching the women's gold medal game and I was on my spare, and I have English class. Game has 5 minutes left. We had just got on the power play, so I'm thinking we had done it right.
No.
Well, I get out of class, I check my phone, and I see 2-1 overtime.
Could you
USA.
believe it?
I could not believe it. My teacher didn't even tell me. Like,
It
Policy breaker.
yeah, that's not fun, and that's not the
no.
policy. Uh, but that's why they're not on SPF net with 32 tots with you guys. Um,
Yeah.
speaking of tots, speaking of taters, uh, oh, do I have a story for you? Lock in, everybody, because this is going to be a bit of a ride. So, I'm going to, for the audio listeners, you're going to have to bear with me. For those of you tuning in on the show, it's going to be fun because I'm sharing with you right now a tot story, and especially of how I think I am the mush middle guy. And so stay with me. So I'm going to paint the scene. So this is not puck talk. This is ice talk. And this is the ice where you actually drill a hole. And shout out to Dustin Bufflin uh, on the last show where fishing is a side quest to be had. And in the 204 lands, when your Lake Winnipeg Ocean freezes over, you have to get out there. And it took me way too long to get out there. And so for the audio listeners, I'm going to paint the picture. We have a Polaris sled. Okay. I'm talking a sled that's powered by a motor and skis. That is, some people call it a snowmobile. Some people call it a skidoo, but those people are partial to the skidoo brand. And I'm not being partial. I'm putting respect on the name. This was a Polaris. And this was my buddy David. Uh, David also goes by Mr. Province Wide, also goes by Danger Wolf Enterprises. And so this buddy of mine had this amazing rig. I'm gonna paint the picture. We got a black with red and white trim on the sled. Behind it, he had welded by one of our buddies that we did time with in high school, a sled that was welded on, and it was welded amazingly. I'm talking about where you got side bolts for stability. Okay. And so he's got all the gear in there. He's got 2 comfy chairs. Do I mush him? Yeah, I have to. Okay, Dave, I love you, but you're a little bit of a soft cedar. You aren't really hard when it comes to what you decide to ice fish with. So you'll notice further back in the picture, and I'll paint the picture, you'll see a cooler with a lid partially open. That is my Coleman cooler that operates both as a storage container for snacks for everybody, and also I sit on that and I fish on that. And then behind that is my cooler. So with milk crate for my son. So those of you seeing in the picture, got a little emoji with sunglasses on. That's my son. I'm not posting that. With all due respect. And that's me on a GT snow racer. For those of you in the audio, I hope you enjoy that picture. I'm gonna move on to the next where, yeah, is there enough room for 4 people on a snowmobile? No. So those of you that are listening, I am being pulled in not the second sled that would be so stable with those side bolts. Not on that sled. I would be in the 3rd sled that we had to tie to the stable sled. And I'm ripping in that, going, I would probably say we were definitely going 20 to 30 clicks, maybe even pushing 40 with the nice powder. And so I'm feeling it. There's a little cursor over my head where I'm loading. And yeah, I probably wasn't in the best brain space because I was bouncing around on a Cabela's plastic sled. But when it freezes over, you just have to get out there by any means necessary. And right now, you can't get out there with a truck. You're actually going to mush yourself and you're going to get stuck. And I might have actually pulled Dave out because he got his ram stuck with everything fully loaded just off of the parking lot at Matlock. All right. So stay with me on the journey, audio listeners. I'm going to try and get this going because we have an insider coming. I'm dropping that right now. Get ready for an insider to join us. It's not going to be 3-headed monster today. It's going to be 4. So next, this is the pinnacle. Okay, we've been fishing all day, and boys, the weather was actually way too nice. It was probably like, I don't know, -5, and I can't really put that in Fahrenheit. That's Celsius. It was way too nice of weather, which means that you're actually not going to fish very well. I'm just going to be honest. Whenever the weather's really nice, the fish mush me or I mush the fish, and then you gotta eat some other kind of food. You can't even have fish that you caught. So we have fries in the cooler. We got camping stoves. We got oil. We're all set to go. And so these little stoves that are not meant to fry taters, or in this case, actual fries. What do I do? For those of you that can see the screen, you'll see a top image in the first one where there's a nice plate with nice crisp fries. Is that what I made? You can make a wild guess. Absolutely not. Mine is the bottom that I mushed. All right. I decide I can't be patient. I'm gonna load up my container with as many fries as I can jam in there because I'm hungry, right? I've been trying to manifest the fish. I caught nothing. I got skunked. But I'm gonna enjoy some fries. And I load it up, but then I start cooking them and I'm like, this is a terrible idea. I should have done a little bit at a time. I should have been patient. I should have, but I wasn't. And so you'll notice on the far right picture, I absolutely mushed the fries. And fellas, like I can't really paint a picture. It doesn't really look like fries, it looks like tater tots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Manifesting the tots, right?
yeah, and you know what? I'm not mad about it. They were edible. And did I throw them back in my little camping stove and then add some elk sausage, and I just made it into a hash. Yeah. So I am the mush guy of the podcast. I'm just coming out in that self-proclamation that I'm a middle guy. I'm not elite, and clearly I can't even cook out on the land. So respectfully, Larry, let's call him. Larry can make fries. Larry is a pseudo name for Dave's other buddy. I didn't ask him permission, but I'm gonna put some respect on his pseudo name, Larry. You can make some fries. So, fellas and listeners, thanks for sticking with me on my Tot quest. That was too much fun.
What a story.
Yeah, so that was on Louis Riel Day that we have up here in the 204 lands. Nice little holiday to spend some time with the family. And so getting out with my son and getting after it on the ice was great. I didn't bring a puck or a stick, but of course Rhett had to bring his stick, and we actually used it as a depth measure for how much thick the ice was. So it was great. It was great. All right, fellas, I'm buzzing.
Real.
And I'm feeling ready to drop this evening. We're recording February 20th, the day of the semifinals in the Olympic rings in the men's tournament. We'll also be talking about the women's gold medal game that just happened yesterday. Though I think it's time, fellas, we bring on for the listeners our insider. Luke, do you want to drop the name? And then I'm going to give him a little bit of an intro as I admit him.
Yeah, so from the homelands of Bulgaria, we're introducing the insider, Simeon the Simber Momchalov.
Okay, so we got Simeon, the Simber Momchalov. Welcome to the show, our insider from Bulgaria. Or no, you're actually in the 204 lands, but representing as ambassador of Bulgarian culture and national hockey play. Simeon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, James. Looking forward to chatting and representing Bulgaria, despite not being, like I haven't spent a lot of time in the motherland, but I definitely am happy to represent regardless.
Hey, well, there's no judgment here because I just bought a Deutschland jersey and I just spent some time at Frankfurt Airport, and that's not even close to where my ancestors were. I've been
Yeah.
doing more of a deep dive, and it's actually up to the north and closer to the Netherlands is where my ancestors are, and I haven't been there. So welcome to the club.
Yeah. No, it's good to stay in touch with kind of all the because there's so much culture back home, right? It's good to keep it with you and bring it with you the best you can. And like my dad is directly from Bulgaria, so I try and learn a little bit. I've done some Bulgarian cooking.
That's
I
unreal.
every year for Christmas I cook something for my baba.
That's
That's
unreal.
Bulgarian, so yeah.
Okay, next time you got to bring that to the night. So, I'm also going to introduce you. You are chairman of the board of our FBHL, the Fantasy Boys Hockey League. Appreciate you doing the legwork, and you know what? With the choices of the applications and the tool, especially at Fantrax, has really been able to help our league dial it in. I'm just, I don't know if I would even be an expansion owner. We're just the original six, I think, this year. And you being chairman of the board, there was some doubts maybe at the beginning of the year, fellas. We maybe got a little bit mushed by that. There's going to be something on the bingo cards today, Simeon, and you'll have to get caught up in the chat. But mush, French fries was a big thing that happened on my ice fishing trip. And so I don't know if you mushed us by all of a sudden glossing over the fact that we could have turned our Fantasy Boys Hockey League into a legacy league. Luke, do you remember this? Do you remember this conversation we had over lunch?
Yeah, so I don't think the legacy rule was ever introduced in our league. So we've had a little bit of controversy with that. Simbear, he's kind of embroiled in that stuff. So definitely missed that one out the gate, but we'll see if we can implement that into our league going forward.
We appreciate you, Simeon. Nonetheless, this is not, we're not here to throw absolute shade. You're the insider, so we need to give you the respect. Though everybody has to have a touch of humility on this show, because I mush some
I
French fries. So
don't know if I can offer any humility, but I'll do my best. No,
hey, you know what? It's a skill set that everybody maybe has to work on, and it's fine. It's fine. But the one thing that I did want to get to, you want to come in and talk some best on best, or do you want to talk about Division 2 Group B? Bulgarian national hockey team is hosting the 2026 tournament. Did you even know that?
no,
Now
had
you
no
know
idea.
that. Who's the insider here? Nobody knows, but we got the Cheryl AI update. The 32 Tot guys, we're dialed in, and it's okay. I'm here to enlighten. Simeon, before I go over to you for your Olympic hot or not tots, we're bringing you on for some exclusive content, and maybe there might be some frozen tots in there. Nobody knows yet, though. I needed to bring your attention to one forward on your Bulgaria national hockey team, none other than Alexander Stanimov. So Stanimov sounds a lot like another player that is involved in your Fantasy Boys Hockey League team. Could you confirm or deny as insider that Steven Stamkos is actually trying to go by an alternative nationality to get into best on best play with the Bulgarian national hockey team?
And Div 2, might I add.
Group B, I might add.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It was definitely shocking to see him snubbed from Team Canada roster, and he's a big Bulgaria guy, so it would make sense for him to want to give the team a free win in this division. He would be the McDavid of this division, so it makes sense. Kind
Yeah,
of
if you
just
can't do it
mess
best on
around,
best,
play some beer league as a NHLer.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
If you can't play best on best, then you got to go Div 2 Group B, like not
yeah.
even Alpha. That's
second best on second
that's
best.
that's
Like,
Mhm.
Division 2 on Division 2, but
Hello.
that's okay. Well, we neither can confirm or deny it from our insider, though
Mhm.
you might have some homework now to do with your FBHL star that you like to drop in the chat all the time. Though let's stick to the script because we're here for Olympic ring talk.
All right.
Samian, what's an Olympic hot or not or frozen pot that you want to bring to the talk?
Let's do it. So, Olympics. This year has been, first off, I just want to say I've had so much fun watching the Olympic Games this year. We've seen some great games. Canada, Czechia, Canada, Finland, USA even had a beautiful game against Sweden. Um, and yeah, it's just been really fun to watch. There's definitely been some questionable decisions made by coaching staff. There's been some questionable decisions made by GMs. This will it'll end up in my hot and not for sure. I'll bring up maybe some mistakes made by the GMs, something that maybe they could have capitalized on better. But yeah, so who's hot this Olympics? Number one, I think the top guy, other than okay, no, you got to start with Connor McDavid because Connor McDavid, 13 points in 5 games, just unreal.
hottest
Like
tot in the game right now.
break breaking records. If anyone questioned whether McDavid was number one, it put it to bed. I think McDavid's got to be the clear cut number one at this point. Now
Absolutely elite.
he's playing on a line with Celebrini and McKinnon. McKinnon's been fine. I'm not gonna say he's been bad. He's not in my knots at all. He had a great goal uh, against Finland. Uh, but he's definitely not in the hot either. He's not playing like the second best player in the world, which is admittedly why I don't think he's the second best player in the world, but he's a solid guy. Um, but Macklin Celebrini has been playing at that level. 10 points in 5 games, 2 points per game. Very elite. And you just watch him play. He gets the puck all the time. He's constantly getting the puck on his stick. And if it's a bad pass, if it's a pass like 2 feet behind him, he's gonna grab it, bring it to a shooting position, and get a shot off. It might not be a goal because that pass was awful, but he'll make a play with it, and that's the crazy thing. So yeah, our top line has been amazing for Canada, but other teams have had some great players too. And I think the number one guy that I have noticed this tournament who's not from Team Canada is on a team that didn't even make the semis, and that's Lucas Raymond. Lucas Raymond carried Team Sweden. Him and I'll say Rasmus Dahlin both carried Team Sweden, and were just on a whole other level. But especially Raymond, he had 9 points in 5 games, only behind Celebrini and McDavid in scoring, on a team that couldn't do that much offensively. And you look at his assists, he got a lot of assists. You look at his assists, mostly primary assists, mostly assists where that goal is not happening if it as for Lucas Raymond. He's making the plays.
He's a
In the game
driver.
against the US, he's a driver. He's driving the play. In the game against the US, beauty pass to Zibanejad to get the goal to tie it up, almost resulting in the US being out in the quarters. So, um, yeah, I think Raymond's one of those guys that is just criminally underrated, not just in the Olympics, but in the NHL too. And I see him being, I mean, this is a spicy take here, but I see him. He's still young. I could see him being a top 10 player in the future.
Nobody knows yet. The one thing that I am gonna say, get out your bingo cards. All Swedish, no Finnish. When it really comes down to it, or was he?
Yeah. I mean, you got to have a couple other guys on the roster that are finishing, and he had Zibanejad, but yeah, not
Um,
much else to work with,
but
unfortunately, on that Sweden roster.
Is Zibanejad the guy to finish? No. Check his passport. He can't do it. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe Leo Carlson if he was there. That'll be could have
Yeah.
for the
And
Swedes.
when coaches strapping Jesper Bratt and Philip Forsberg to the bench, like it's a
I
tough
don't
look.
I don't get
Yeah, I would like to highlight Team Sweden's coach was a little bit of a disaster class, I'll admit, but he did get one thing right, and that is Lucas Raymond was your best forward. And I'm not gonna say he's better than Nylander overall, because that's the other guy,
Yeah.
right? But at the Olympics, Raymond, and at the Four Nations too. Four Nations, Raymond was also Sweden's best forward. Um, when it comes to best on best, Raymond has wiped the floor with Nylander to both times, Four Nations and the Olympics. So the coach saw Raymond's your guy, and he's like, I'm gonna play this guy because he's doing things right. And a guy like Jesper Bratt, who has been disappointing all season long, disappointing in the Olympics. Yeah, he's not a scratch, admittedly, on that Team Sweden roster, but he's a guy who I could see playing low minutes, and I wouldn't be
For a
that
team that
shocked.
lacked pace and was playing a high flying offense like the Americans, I would have liked to see him out there a little more often. Get some jump into the lineup. Definitely felt his presence in the third, but overall he's had a bit of an underwhelming year, so we'll see.
It's a fair take, and I think this is I would have been with you last year. I would have been like Bratt, he's a guy who uh maybe flirts with the top 50 kind of player ranking. He's definitely outside of my top 50 this year. And the reason is because I've just realized how much he's reliant on a guy who has very much stepped up at the Olympics, and that's Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a guy who has been critical of Jack Hughes in the past. I'm not a big New Jersey Devils fan. I've been critical of Jack Hughes. I've been like, in the Four Nations, he was pretty miserable. He was just getting pushed around. He he still played like a young guy who hadn't found his footing yet. And yeah, early on his shot was just not good. And everything has just developed so much, and it's clear this Olympics he is one of the US's best players. Potentially, I would say potentially the best forward on Team USA so far this tournament.
And still mushed on that third line, like not maybe getting the credit he
Yeah,
deserves, but I've been a bit of a Jack Hughes truther since day one. Believed in the
yeah,
point of loved his style of game. Not really loving it for the red, blue, and white because not my colors, but I'll admit he's had a pretty great tournament, and when that guy's healthy and not stabbing steak knives into his hand at restaurants or whatever that incident was earlier this year, he's a great player.
Okay,
yeah.
I need to hop in here because I'm wearing the plaid. I'm wearing the red. I got the hat. Uh, all this Hughes love. That's great. The one thing that you can't really disregard is the fact that he gets injured. And I'm not going to say this is something that I wish to see, though I sent in our group chat with Luke and Elijah Tom Wilson getting interviewed after the game and asked, what did you expect or what were the expectations when you got paired with Marchand and Bennett? And and he just flat out says to create chaos. And I want to see Marchand, Wilson, and Bennett against Hughes. And I want to see them create chaos for the Americans and for their skilled guys. And the ice is smaller. The Canada, I believe, has the diggers to get it done. There's the guys that are going to play the top line minutes. We saw it against Finland, the ice distribution. It's getting less and less for those extra guys. But when you start that digger line, that's what I'm going to call them, of Wilson, Marchand, and Bennett, uh, Hughes, you better keep your head up because those guys will take you out.
Yeah.
And they just might give New Jersey a higher draft pick if he doesn't keep his head up because he's been known to get injured in moments where the competition and the physical play rises.
Yeah. And I'll admit, Wilson and Bennett, they didn't have a great period. They didn't or great first period. They didn't start the game too well, but when Cooper united that line in the second, they kind of did a great job setting the table for that top line, getting the pucks deep, getting those offensive zone face-offs, kind of setting the table for those top guys. So really leaned on those Finnish defenders as well. So really tired them out and got the boys going.
I didn't want to take your insider hot or not completely away there, Simeon. I
No, no,
just
no.
needed to insert a little bit because we're gonna keep you on. I want to respect your list. So I want to run this down for the audience because I want to respect your craft here as an insider. You got Connor McDavid, you're one. None of us are gonna argue with that. He was on a point per period pace that got John Cooper pausing in the middle of an interview, thinking about what Connor McDavid is doing. You had Nate Dogg kind of like I felt like
Yeah,
you're throwing some shade at Nate Dogg, and just hold on because Nate Dogg today, we're gonna get more into it. Nate Dogg is a gamer. He's a dog. I just said it. Nate Dogg McKinnon. And you're
Yeah.
saying that he's not playing like number two in the world? And I think I know where you're going. But he's not at the Olympics.
yeah,
No.
yeah, you're right. Number two in the world is not at the Olympics. Just I think you're seeing the effect of number two at the world not being the Olympics through his line mates, right? So, well, one point is number one line mate. He can't even stay healthy enough to make Team Canada. But then you see Hagel and Sorelli, right? That's the other line that's with him. And Kucherov, Hagel, and Sorelli has been the number one line in the league in terms of like scoring chances for versus against. Like in on several metrics, that's
Mhm.
the line that's putting up the numbers. And I'm a big Hagel guy. I think he's a fantastic player. And this is no shade to Hagel. He's filling his role in on Team Canada. Like he's great. But he's also at one goal right now in 5 games played. So he's a fantastic player. But the fact that he's well over points per game on Tampa Bay, I think signals just the caliber of talent he plays with on a daily basis. Same with Sorelli. Like Sorelli's not putting up the numbers he's putting up on any other team. You look at guys like Andre Palat, who used to play with Kucherov, and immediately after they're traded down the drain. Tyler Johnson, another one. It just happens over and over and over again. And Jake Gensel on Team USA is one of my knots because as much as he's been not like hard on the eyes to watch, he's also been very invisible. Hagel hasn't been invisible. Hagel's been playing his
I
role.
think that's a frozen thought.
Jake Gensel being invisible is a frozen thought.
Yeah, I think he's been just an unbelievable complimentary player to Matthews. And you see, take a look like last year at the Four Nations, Gensel Matthews was a pretty great duo for them. I know the points might not be there this year, but I feel like he's been creating a lot of chances for his team and really setting up the boys. So I don't know. I think as a complimentary guy on that line, he's done well. But
I
I would
think
just
Gensel wouldn't be a driver. Like Simeon, if that's
yeah,
what I'm hearing you say,
yeah.
like Gensel is not a driver. I don't think he's meant to be a driver. So if the nod is that he's not a driver, I think you're right. And Luke, I think if you're saying that he's a complimentary piece, like yeah, that's totally valid. I think that's a discussion for maybe a little bit more. I think the one thing that I do want to bring out that you have said, Simeon, is that like Nikita Kucherov makes those around him better. I don't think anybody can dispute that. He is a driver and a distributor. Like you just look at his point distribution, it's much more towards the assists.
Yeah.
He's an elite passer and he's an elite playmaker. As much as I don't like to talk about Tampa Bay flavors, that has been something on the podcast that is. Oh, we're not going to get into the origin story of why Tampa Bay has hurt my life in the past, but that's way in the past, and we don't need to go in the time machine right now. That's a side quest. Though
yeah.
I want to go with after the Nate dog, you had three Celebrini has absolutely captivated another generation of hockey fans, is what I would like to draw out. I completely actually agree with you. Like that is that I'm right in that wheelhouse. I don't think you can really argue with Connor and Celebrini and the magic that they've been able to curate with one another. One being essentially prime McDavid right now,
Yeah.
and Celebrini, who is almost arriving earlier than expected and becoming an elite superstar on the world stage. And then you had Lucas Raymond and Rasmus Dahlin with Team Sweden.
Yeah.
And I was
I
wondering
would
if
I
you
would
if you had
just
any.
if
Go ahead.
I would just say like if I'm going to like put an order to who's impressed me most this Olympics,
Yeah.
it's Connor McDavid one, and then Celebrini and Raymond are tied for two. Like that's
Okay.
how impressive Raymond's been this Olympics. And then from there, yeah, guys like Dahlin have been really up there. Um, I have a couple others, but Nietzsche's as well. Marty Nietzsche's.
Yeah.
You know, I to get back into the Kucherov versus McKinnon argument just a little bit. Okay, just to finish
Okay,
this
fine.
thought.
We're giving this a little more time, and then we're moving
I
on
would
to
like to
topic.
Yeah,
just add disclaimer. It does seem like Nate Dogg is dealing with a lower body injury, so he's really dogging it out. And maybe he's not got those speed bursts right now, but he's still contributing at a high level and putting his heart and his body and his sweat and his blood on the line for this country. So
Nobody knows what Kucherov would do. Nobody.
Yeah, and I do want to say, like, I don't want to discredit McKinnon to the point where I'm not saying he's still a top 3 player in the NHL. And yeah, Celebrini's kind of outpacing him in every aspect of the game, but we're understanding that, yeah, Nate Dogg's got the lower body injury, so that excuses it for sure. But but you're just looking at the other guys on Nate Dogg's team that he's playing with, and you look at Marty Necas on Czechia, who led them in scoring when they have a guy like David Pastrnak on their team, who played actually pretty good, in my opinion, throughout the tournament. But Necas was just on a whole other level. You got Makar, who has been a game changer for Canada already this Olympics, and even guys like Brock Nelson, who's been fantastic for Team Canada, or Lehkonen, who's been amazing on even Finland. So, like, all of these players have been doing really good without McKinnon, versus all of the guys in Tampa are you're seeing, like, yeah, it's really Kucherov that drives that offense and gets them the scoring. And no shade to Gensel, he's a great guy as well, but I don't know if he'd be putting up the scoring he's been putting up, considering he has 1 point in the Olympics right now, when a guy like Austin Matthews, who's his line mate, has 6. You know, it's like, if Matthews has 6 and he's on the same line as Gensel, it doesn't seem like he really needs Gensel that much on that line, you know.
Yeah, unless if he's doing the retrievals. I haven't watched the United States close enough. It's been a little bit of casual viewing besides the Canada viewing for me. Though I would want to focus on something that you've said is you were just listing off Natchez, Lehkonen, and these players that are stepping up in big moments. Natchez, when he got traded for Mikko Rantanen, I think most people would have said that Natchez would be maybe a poorer man's Rantanen. Not to completely throw shade to Natchez, but I think he was maybe sheltered, or he was in Rod the Bod Brandemore's system, ingrained quite a bit in that system and not allowed to have free wheel, so to speak. And so when you see him having free wheel offensively and being able to create and drive offense and not be maybe punished within the defensive structure that Carolina really prescribes to, is something that I would agree to. It's been interesting to watch him really step into it after settling in Colorado. Though the one thing that I think I really want to get to is that this best on best hockey has been something that has been for me a big driving point while I'm watching it with my class, is that this is a generation that is now being able to lock in and tune in to best on best. And there's nothing like it. There's nothing like this hockey that you could find. There is something different. And I was talking about it with the coaches on my son's team. There's something different when you put on your nation's threads and with the crest on there. There is something that almost happens that I see within McDavid and I see within McKinnon, even now with the way that he is battling. There is something that is almost transcends the normal compete level. I would almost call it like an exponential ratio of where the compete kind of goes beyond what you would just be able to do for your national hockey league club. And it's one of these things that I'm just gonna keep saying, is that this has been far too long to wait for this. I'm sorry, the World Cup that had Team North America with all the young guns, that was McKinnon, McDavid, Eichel, and all the kids that they forced onto a team to just showcase them. That is nothing in comparison to what's going on right now. And for me, I just feel that the NHL has really missed an opportunity to grow the game globally within the last 12 years, where I almost feel remorse that hockey can't get to a level where the FIFA World Cup level of engagement and global captivation is something that our sport has been around for over a century, and yet we don't have that ability to grow the game. And I think it's because our best players haven't been involved due to contractual obligations. And it hasn't been something that NHL owners really prioritize. They don't see this as something to invest in. Where if you want better players, bring the best players to the Olympics to show to the world, because there's kids that are watching in gyms. There's kids that are watching in classrooms now that now will have a seed sown for them, for the passion for the sport. And nobody knows which kid could all of a sudden strap on skates and be a national hero. That's a big monologue, but something that I'm really passionate about. And Simeon, you inspired that. I appreciate you running through your list because it just further emphasizes that this has been a missed opportunity.
Yeah. And even like beyond like the financial arguments or the growing the game arguments for being in the Olympics, I think just a core argument too is the players all want to do best on best. They all want to represent their country. The fans all want to see best on best. Like regardless of if it grows the game or not, it expands it to new fans. The fans that do watch hockey, that's what they want to see. They want to see this best on best. It's the best hockey, Four Nations face off, that final game was probably my favorite hockey game I've seen. Like I can't think of a game I've liked more. Um, only comparison would be Jets playoffs last year was also amazing.
Yeah.
But um, I can almost guarantee that the Jets playoffs would not have had as much hype around it if it wasn't for that Four Nations, because that just brought so much life into the sport, and I think the Olympics just bring more.
I
So
think it,
Yeah.
yeah, like to play off that, I think it reinvigorates players in a
mhm,
whole new way. The one thing that for me feels wrong is that the players have had to concede things in the bargaining talks to get to the Olympics. They have had to make concessions on certain criteria of their contracts. I think they gave up a year on their contracts where it's no longer lock in for 8 with your team, it's 7 or 6 in order
Yeah,
to
7.
go, yeah, to go to the Olympics. And like I'm a fantasy boys hockey league owner. Like I play fantasy hockey. I'm not an owner. Though it's easy for me to say let the boys play. The women have been showing up best on best, and kudos to them. I love the way that they game, and we'll speak to that shortly. Though it just doesn't feel right that owners, the billionaires, have that control on this product that should be shared with the world, in my opinion. I believe in charity. I talk about it a lot in my teaching, where we should have charity with one another. There's things that people don't have to deserve in order to get things. There's just some aspects of life where you just need to be charitable with another individual. And I'm not telling that I know that some owners are very charitable. True North sponsors the first shift program that has allowed my children to enter the sport, where we get equipment subsidized and we get on ice instruction. I'll be forever grateful for that. Though the one thing that I just can't say enough is that you need to let the players play in best on best in the Olympics on the stage, because it is a global uniting event. And that's all I
Yeah.
should have to say. I'm beating the drum too much.
Just been thinking the last couple weeks, like, how did we not do this for 12 years? Like,
I know, right?
what goes on for that to even happen in the first place? But it's been cool to see, like, people were kind of thinking like this is like internationally Crosby passing the torch to McDavid, and then you have this Celebrini kid coming out of nowhere. So it's been kind of cool seeing all the generations kind of come down and all unite as one and it's united the country behind them. So it's been a
Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful. It's so captivating, and I just like today we watched it, and maybe pay attention to what happened yesterday, and then Simeon, you're good for it. We can dive into a little bit of an overview of what's happened.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah, let's
let's
do
do
it.
it.
Okay, let's strap in here, lock in. Um, Yesterday, as Elijah alerted to earlier, pardon me, and he's working on the tools behind the scenes. You'll have to excuse him. He's having some technical difficulties, but we really appreciate him nonetheless. And so the moment that he said in his spare watching the game, he left, came back after and thought that they had won because they were on the power play. Luke, you're not Cheryl Pounder. We respect her. She's one of the greatest female insiders, both for the women's game and the men's game. Though looking back at yesterday, what would be your takeaways, or what did you notice in that women's gold medal final between these historic rivals between Canada and the United States?
Yeah, I think I just came out of it and really loved the compete that Canada brought to the game. And then you look at the earlier game in the prelims that they dropped 5-0, and I believe dating back to the rivalry series that's happened the past year, they've dropped about seven in a row to the Americans. So just for them to come out in that game and keep it close and have the lead for that long, um, they really just showed up when it mattered most, and unfortunately couldn't get the job done in heartbreaking fashion, but still have a lot to be proud of and kind of a reset for the coming years.
Yeah. Simeon, did you watch the game? I don't mean to throw you on the spot.
Absolutely, I did. Yeah. No, women's hockey has been the one thing that's got me through the Olympics the last 12 years. It's
Yeah,
men's
that's
hockey, you're
true.
not seeing best on best, but women's you are, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, I I in the past, yeah, for the past several Olympics, I didn't watch men's. I just watched women's because what's the point of watching men's when you're not seeing like I can watch an NHL game any day and I'm seeing better players. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, that game, uh, yeah, it was an amazing game. It was, I think, going into it, of course, U.S. were the favorites, and there was all this talk about them blowing out Canada, and Canada. I was watching the game. Canada had just as many chances as the U.S. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And shout out to the U.S. goalie; they played really good.
Yeah, after that shorthanded goal that Kristen O'Neill scored, uh Frankel, I believe her name in the United States net, just like locked it
Yeah.
down. And it was one of those things watching the game, and as the game progressed, maybe I'm a little bit more critical in my analysis these days because I want to be uh, intuitive a bit. Though the one thing that was a big takeaway is Canada really came out and kind of, I felt for the first time the United States all tournament, they'd kind of walked through the competition. They kind of got, uh, I've heard this analogy in a boxing fight. Everybody's ready for the fight until you get the first big punch in the face. And then what do you do? What do you respond after the first big haymaker? And it felt like Canada really came out and really like to put it in that boxing analogy, really like punched the Americans in the face. And it's like you might have beat us 5-0 in the round robin, but we got our captain clutch back, Marie-Philippe Poulin, and we're here to game. And that first period, I was a little bit skeptical of knowing that they're an older team. They have the veterans to get the job done, though I was worried about gas in the tank because I knew that there's more miles on those women's bodies because they've been doing it for a while. And so I was a little bit worried that as the game progressed, that all of a sudden the United States legs and their endurance would kind of come through. And then they scored that shorthanded goal. I was talking with my class and they were making predictions. They're like, oh, they're going to get scored on this power play. And then it's the reverse Uno where we score on their power play. Uh, that's always a thrill. though as the game progressed into the third, you could really see the youth of the Americans really take over, in my assessment. And the speed just became something at the end where the Americans would just kept coming and coming. And leave it up to Captain Knight to tip a shot, Celebrini-esque style, Suzuki-esque style, and to get the game into overtime. And then there, like you said, Simeon, it's like a coin flip. But to see the women at the end of it, like heartbroken, for me, I view this game a little bit differently for my daughters. These are the women that they now look up to. And just like I looked up to in 2002 when we had Mario Lemieux and we had Joe Sakic and Drew McGinley was young. This is taking you guys on a time machine. Bear with me. But for my daughters this year, for them, this is their icons to look up to. And for them to be heartbroken, the women, and then for my girls to watch that, I'm just like feeling it as a dad for them. I got to see the guys win the gold medal, and for them, I have confidence they'll just have to wait. And the next one's in Utah, so maybe we just have, for my daughters, we actually go down there and we watch history be made, though nobody knows yet. It's going to be a new team in this next quadrennial, is what they call it. Canada is going to, not that there's a summit or anything that needs to be held, I don't think. The women played so tough and played to what they needed to do tactically to win that game. It's just tough to watch. I don't enjoy those moments where I have to be critical, where I'm like, I felt like they were playing not to lose the game. They weren't playing to win. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, that was one of my takeaways too. Just seeing that older core with Canada, they kind of went with the loyal approach, and you see in the USA program and how they've been developing their players lately at like the collegiate level. You got that Abby Murphy girl who's just dancing, got magic hands, and see a player like Caroline Harvey who's just been lighting it up at the collegiate level and probably the top defenseman that I noticed in the tournament just overall. So also MVP, I believe. So just unbelievable from her. So you see these girls coming up at the collegiate level and just kind of wonder in Canada like how we can get that started. Who's going to be kind of making that jump to the next team and see what we're looking like from there. But definitely a lot of turnover coming with this next team as I believe we have the oldest group there at the Olympics. So should be a lot of change coming in.
What do you think of
Yeah, for
the idea,
sure.
Simeon?
Yeah, I think that was their issue in the game at the end of the day. Um, although it really, like Canada had a team that could win a gold medal, that could win the gold medal though, for sure. Like
Yeah.
the way they played that game, it really could have gone either way. And I think for those not watching who didn't see the game, uh, it, it, we don't want to paint the wrong picture because Canada played their heart out that game. I
Yeah.
think what got them in the end is their legs just couldn't keep up with the US. In the towards the end of the third period, US pushed and Canada couldn't quite hold them off. And then 3-on-3 overtime, I think really was where it showed. Like
Yeah.
we had some defensive blunders, a few rough ones, and US just scored on one of them at the end of the day. But yeah, like the heart was there for Team Canada. It's just about bringing the skill there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of to flip the script a little bit, where I felt like the women were playing not to lose. No disrespect in that. Like they played their hearts out. I'm not saying that. It's just a completely different game when you're playing with a 1-0 lead versus what happened today. If we could dive right into that on the men's side, where the men got the haymaker in the face and they go down 2-0. First, you got Luke, we talked about it in the truck cast. We talk about Miko the Moose Rantanen, and who goes
Yeah.
and scores? We mush? No mush there. I think you just have to put some respect on Rantanen
Yeah.
as an elite winger in that capacity. Him scoring, and I can't remember who the second goal scorer was for Finland. Luke, do you want to
Eric
get into
Call,
that?
yeah, so Canadians got a power play there, and I'm like, okay, this is our chance to tie it. And
That's
power
right.
play starts, they kind of flip it out the zone there, kind of mush themselves, reaching for the puck, trying to keep the puck in, and Eric Holla flies by and goes backhand shelf. So wasn't feeling great in that moment. Thought thought the boys might be off to the bronze game, but lots of compete there, and the boys battled back. And once they tied it up, you kind of just had that feeling that it was building, and Nate Mack in the final minute just delivers just a beautiful board battle won by Celebrini in the corner there. Can't believe he's 19 doing this kind of stuff. And then he just throws a pass through the crease right over to McDavid, who just sauces it cross crease right onto McKinnon's stick, and he just fires it into that corner. And the building just flew off.
Yeah, we watched it as a class today, and it was banana lands. Like it was absolutely core memory material for me. Uh, Watching that with my class, it was one of those things. I, as a parent, watching the women's game yesterday and kind of feeling it for my daughters. Today, I was really feeling it for my students, where they were living and dying almost but with each goal. I remember that when I was that age, where like every goal that went against Canada felt like a mountain that they had to climb. And I was just trying to be old man wisdom. And I just said, okay, don't lose faith. You as a team want to be in a position to play to win. And this is not a slight at what happened yesterday, but if you get that haymaker in the face once, twice, they got a jab, an uppercut, and they're down to nothing. It just felt like I knew that they were woken up where they had to play and game the rest of the game. And even what Coach Coop did to mix up the lines a little bit, he had the chaos line. I just love that line. Print a t-shirt with those guys' faces on it. I want it. And the big dogs, it's just felt inevitable almost after it got tied and being in their zone the last 5 minutes. I looked around and I said to one of the boys who was talking and feeling nervous, and I said, "This one isn't going to overtime. We're gonna get it done here. Lock in." And uh, it's one of those things. I I make these hot takes in my class, and whether they actually come to fruition or not. But in this case, I actually did assess it, and it happened. And you can talk about the offside and having to wait, and then we just got to celebrate for a second time as a class,
Yeah.
and so it was a day that I think my highlight in watching the game was, as the Olympic does, it unites people. And it united me and the students in a really powerful way, where we were talking about the gold medal game. And I said, well, we're going home, and we're going to the gold medal game, and we're going to be watching at home. And one of the students actually said, oh, it's on Sunday. And it felt like there was that they wanted to keep this thing going as a class. And for me, like selfishly as a teacher, that's something where I try to build that team mentality within my group. And the fact that they want to watch that together, it's just kind of like I want to be in two places at once. I want to be with my family watching it, and then I also
Yeah.
want to be in that classroom with my class family. Anyway, thanks for sticking with me, guys. I have too much fun in my job, and we're making an Olympic sports network at school and doing recording with this same microphone that I have right now. So it's fun.
Nice.
Super cool.
Um, Looking forward, You know what? Let's talk about the other semifinal, as much as we probably don't really want to talk about it. And Simeon doesn't want to talk about Gensel again. But we we got our matchup. We got our Four Nations rematch.
Yep.
You can't script this, Luke.
No, can't write this stuff. Took a little bit of extra work from the Canadian boys there to get there, but we made it, and I think deep down this is what every hockey fan wanted to see. Two best teams going at it for the gold medal. So looking forward to that early Sunday morning wake up and watching two heavyweights just go to battle.
Yeah,
I
how
was
about you,
thinking the
Simeon?
exact same thing. Like deep down, that's what every hockey fan wanted, right? Like watching the U.S. Sweden game. I mean, I've just like guys like Dolan and Raymond, just watching them play. I've loved watching them play so much that like part of me wanted to root for Sweden, but I also knew like Canada USA finals just too perfect. You
Yeah,
kind of hope that that happens, and our medal chances are a little bit tougher with a team like US. They've got a really good team, but I think that's where it's fun and exciting. Like the Canada US women's game. Like I wouldn't have picked another opponent. Like
no,
the US, they gave us a great game. We gave them a great game, and I hope to see the same tomorrow.
yeah, yeah. No, it's one of those things for me. There was a little bit of discussion of cheering for Slovakia because you maybe want the lesser competition. And I don't mean to say that to disrespect Slovakia. They are an impressive nation that has powered themselves to the Final Four for the second straight Olympics. And yeah, we could go back to the last Olympics, and it wasn't best on best, though. For a team like Slovakia to make it, being a smaller nation, and then not even having any NHL players, Slavkovsky gamered that one, and he's powered his nation to have a chance to win bronze for the second time. Uh, this is what we all want. We want we want the two top dogs, and yeah, you just can't script this stuff. Canada, United States for Olympic gold, and this is for the next generation because it has been 16 years since Canada played United States for a gold medal on home ice. This is now taking place across the pond, though this has been in works since the Four Nations. And now we get this repeat. I am bought in. I'm absolutely excited for this. This is going to be one of the greatest hockey games. I I could say maybe what I think, though the script will write itself. The plot's gonna happen, and we just get to all witness this spectacle.
Yeah, it's gonna
It's
be
not a
special.
game you want to miss a single minute of, that's for sure.
No, no, make sure to set your alarm clocks, and don't be like me where in the quarterfinal, I thought the game was at 10:40, and it turned out that that was actually Ontario time, and so I missed puck drop. Though, all things considered, the more important things happened on that day. Sunday, right, fellas? It's Sunday morning?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Sunday morning.
that's it. We have tomorrow to get hyped, get our get our rest in, and then we got Sunday bright and early. Set your alarm clocks. You don't want to miss it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, boys, let's take a little break and then we'll be right back.